Go watch her videos.
She's yelling. I'm scared.
Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. We are CineChix. I'm Jen.
And I'm Christina, and today we have our beautiful friend Terica back.
Yay! Thanks for having me.
Of course.
So we are going to be talking about the new movie Antebellum. We actually saw the screening about a year and a half ago, maybe
So
a year
long ago. It was over, I think it was like last March.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Of like 2019.
Yeah. And we wanted to give it a second viewing to see what they changed and just to kind of catch some things, because you know when you see things a second time, sometimes you catch things you missed the first time.
Where they change things or add or take away.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. I didn't notice a ton that they changed from our viewing, other than like color correction, and I noticed a few small changes, but nothing that actually changed the storyline, or I didn't see like anything that needed to be like reshot or anything like that.
Erica, we'll start with you. What are your overall thoughts of the movie upon second viewing?
I mean, I enjoyed it the first time. I had no idea what the movie was about at all.
Because when we saw it, it was before there was any trailers. There was nothing that had given us any inclination.
There was no description. There was no nothing. I was just like, oh, Janelle Monáe's in the movie.
Right. When we saw it, we actually thought we were seeing Harriet.
I enjoyed it. I was so, especially the first like 30 minutes of it. I mean, it was a lot. Yeah, it was just a lot. And so like it just pulled me in, and then when things started changing, I was like, huh? What is exactly happening? And so I just didn't understand. I was like, where are we going? What kind of movie is this? And then watching it a second time, I paid attention to a lot more things that I didn't realize were taking place and happening. It was nice to watch it a second time so I can see all of that.
I agree. I liked it. It's different, and especially the second viewing, I think that I picked up a lot more like little things that we're going to talk about later that gives like a little bit more delving really deep into like the metaphors and stuff of this movie. And I'm not sure why it was getting such terrible reviews, and I didn't want to read any of the reviews until after we watched it for the second time.
I completely agree with them. I liked it, I enjoyed it, and I think I enjoyed it more upon second viewing. Not because the first time it was bad, it was just after you get over that like shock factor of like, what did I just watch? What's happening?
It's heavy.
Yeah, it is. And then the second viewing is kind of like, oh, okay, now I can kind of look around and see, because they put a lot of little Easter eggs that you are not going to get upon first viewing. There's so much going on at the forefront, you're not going to get that background stuff.
This is the type of movie you have to watch twice. You have to watch it twice. The first one is like, you're trying to process everything that's happening, because it's a lot. You go back and watch it a second time, you're like, okay.
That makes sense. Now I understand. Okay, now that we have our general thoughts, we're gonna get into some spoilers, guys. Stop now if you haven't seen the movie yet.
Danger.
I want to talk about why this movie is getting so much hate and why critics and viewers are giving it such bad reviews. I think a lot of the reviews that I read were saying that it was exploitive of slavery, and then also trying to make people feel guilty about slavery and stuff like that. I feel like people are taking it too personal, and if you're taking it personal, then maybe you have an issue. I didn't take anything that I watched personally because I don't feel that way. This was just trying to shed light on some people do feel that way. Slavery did happen, but some people fantasize that, and this is what that would be like if they tried to do it today.
To your point about people not liking it, I think also some of the critic reviews were complaining about it not being like a horror movie in the sense of like Get Out and Us. In that regard, that is the movie's marketing's fault, because they did market it to be like a supernatural-ish Get Out, Us.
And that's
horror
not what
feel, and it's not. It's a horror movie, but in the most realistic way, not in the something supernatural,
sinister.
It is horror, but
we're
not in the way.
We're not going to the sunken place. We're not going to Tethereds. This is a different type of
and I feel
horror.
like that definitely like affected how people went into seeing the movie, because we saw the screening without any knowledge of what to expect.
We didn't have any preconceived
notions. And I think that's what the issue. That's a big issue, because I think the trailer
wasn't a great trailer. I was so upset when the trailer dropped, since we had seen the movie. I was really upset that they gave the twist kind of away. Like, I'm sure some people were still confused, but they shouldn't have done that, because that confused people even more, because then when you're watching it, you're probably waiting for like, okay, so where's this coming in? One of the other criticisms was so much of people just being like, oh, it was like a wannabe Jordan Peele movie. I can see the similarities. I can see that they kind of were trying to make you have that kind of feeling of like how a lot of Jordan Peele's things are making you kind of feel like the Twilight Zone.
Also, he's the only person who's been making racial horror movies. No one else has been making them.
They just decided just to bring him up.
It's like, just because someone decides to make, he just opened that door. Like, look, it can be done and be well liked.
Yeah.
He was able to open that door so that other people, like the two directors who made this movie, can make the movie. So I feel like putting it in a Jordan Peele box, being like, oh, like this is a wannabe Jordan Peele. Not necessarily. He made it popular. He made it okay. But he doesn't hold the, you know, the...
And I feel like that's happening with so many things. That kind of feels like, I know that this isn't exactly what you're saying, but it feels like people are trying to like gatekeep. Just because something was done one way, somebody else can do it as well. And also
and not be a wannabe. Like, why does it have to be?
It doesn't have to be that way.
That it's just in the same vein.
Yeah.
This was one of the guy's very first movies, so I think
they did mostly music videos.
They did music videos, and so I think for that, this to be his first movie, good job. I think people are being picky on both sides because I know I had mentioned about like white people feeling offended or whatever to this, but also I read a lot of reviews of black people hating it and saying like that it was people were romanticizing slavery.
While I don't think the goal was to romanticize it. I think it was just you looked at her experience and most of it from her eyes, except when we go to Kiersey Clemons and see what happens to her. Other than that,
or even the guy that the one that was listening to the song, her friend from his like he saw his wife die.
There are three people you see. The main person you see the perspective of is Janelle Monáe, Veronica's character, and then two of the other main slave people. You see it from their perspective. So that doesn't leave a lot of room to see a lot of stuff. Maybe it looks romanticized because you don't see, I mean, even though I feel like what they did show was brutal enough to feel like that's not romanticized, but I do also know how much more brutal slavery was. And, so I guess I can understand why they feel like it's being romanticized, but at the same time, it's like, she's not going to see every single horror that's on this plantation. Right. You're seeing it from three people's perspective. This is a plantation full of people.
Yeah.
I will say that, like, the first time watching it, when we flashed to her life before being on the plantation, I did have those thoughts of, like, okay, is this supernatural? Did she, like, get transported into the past? What happened? And sure, I think that would have been a great movie. That would have been very interesting if she did somehow get teleported into that time. But I can appreciate the movie for what it was. Sure, there were things that could have been done a little bit differently, maybe explained a little bit more, but I don't think that those little faults deserve those terrible reviews.
Upon reading some of them, they're very surface level. Yeah. They say that things aren't fleshed out, that the movie itself is very surface level, but seeing it twice now, it's not surface level at all. There are so many little symbols in the background that we were able to catch that you would not catch if you only watched it once.
Right. One of those symbols that happened throughout the entire movie is butterflies. We see the butterfly is the background of her computer. The butterfly is on the book that she wrote. There's a butterfly in like the hotel. There with one of the girls had a tattoo.
A butterfly tattoo on her ankle.
There were so many butterflies, and there's a butterfly on the poster for Antebellum, but it looks like it's like bleeding. Sometimes butterflies can mean empowering or being renewed and being reborn or something like that. That was definitely a theme throughout the whole movie. It could be like a rebirth of racism maybe, because I do feel like there's a period of time where like I don't feel like racism was around every corner, and now it feels like there's this resurgence of it. That could be to symbolize that, like a rebirth of this traumatic period in our history. And it could also mean duality.
It was never a perfect butterfly. It was like bleeding, or like it wasn't, your typical like cookie cutter.
Or like, the butterfly is never perfect. And both sides don't always look, to the naked eye it looks identical, but it's still different. The past and the present, like the past is this way and the present is this way, but if you look at it for face value, it looks the same.
Yeah, and then the other things that like we picked up upon second viewing is realizing how it wasn't just that plantation, but that whole hotel. Because the concierge, you could tell that she was very racist, and behind her, you noticed...
I saw the painting. If you watch it, look at the painting behind her. It's the same exact picture of the plantation in the beginning when the girl is walking. And I was like, oh, I didn't notice that before.
Right. And I think when they go to the restaurant, something that I didn't really think about before, but I noticed this time, is the concierge made a reservation for the dinner. And so I think that she specifically asked them to be seated at that terrible table. I don't think that that was the restaurant's choice.
They knew where she was staying. They knew where she was going to dinner. Like, I think that hotel...
They knew her a whole agenda.
They could have planted that concierge there. The people who are part of this plantation are people outside.
The guy that owns it.
He owns it, and he's an elected official. And so these people aren't just, random people who don't have lives outside of this place. Some of these people are high level people outside of that place. So it's not unrealistic that to get the people that they want, they're planting people in the places that they are. So like, while surface level, without seeing that second viewing, it may seem like they're just showing every white person as like racist. We personally think that she was a plant, and they put her at that table on purpose to make her uncomfortable.
They did.
A lot of people I was seeing were saying that it was trying to like push people down. Like I said before, like, I wasn't taking this movie personally. I wasn't thinking that they were trying to say that all white people are racist and that everybody is like terrible. And I think that this was just showing that some
also
people
stems.
Are. Some people are.
If you want to dive a little deeper, what's happening in 2020?
And
everybody's
this movie was made before.
Yeah, it was made. Right, yeah, so everybody is looking into every little detail, saying that they're doing that. They're being racist. They're saying that these people are bad and that people. They're giving you a story.
Right.
They're showing you an instance. They're showing you a situation that's happening. Take it for that instead of looking at it as
a grand statement about right now, when realistically the movie was made 2 to 3 years ago. Yeah. And then also, to the point of like not all white people being racist, not to give anyone excuses, that it shows you like really, really racist people. It shows you people who are racist to their core. Then they show you examples of how racism is not born, it's taught.
Yes.
So it shows you a character who's clearly struggling with the racist ideologies that are being hammered into him by the people around him. He goes from being kind, gentle to being really angry when a character kind of makes it seem like you're not like the other, you're not like them, you're not
trying
like
to get him to like help her
telling him you're not like the rest of them was a trigger for him because he probably hears it from them like, oh,
man up, take your you're the king, you're the boss, like you run this.
So it shows that like he is struggling, even though it's not an excuse, but it shows that some people who do behave racistly are just struggling with the fact that they're surrounded by people who are taught are hammered in. And then the little girl, she was taught that. She was saying things that she was hearing the adults say.
She was also doing things. The elevator scene where she is looking at her and saying, whatever she has said.
Don't talk. You'll get in trouble for talking to me.
And if you notice, when she exits, she has a doll that is lynched around its neck, and it's a black doll,
and not black like brown, like black,
like charcoal,
the color black,
black.
And she's just dragging it on the.
And I feel like they taught her that.
Which, by the way, the symbolism of the little girl dragging that doll, and then the symbolism of when Veronica was riding the horse with the lady in like being lynched in the back, and so I thought that was very.
That her mom basically died the way that the girl was dragging the doll.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. There's a lot happening in it.
Yeah.
It definitely it is like upsetting, and it is disturbing. And sure, if it had been the supernatural, she gets pulled back in time, then I think that might excuse some of your discomfort, because then you're like, okay, well, she's just being pulled back to when it actually happened, so like I can understand that. But
that's the main issue. People don't like the fact that they have to sit in their own discomfort of the fact that this is something obviously not currently happening, but this is the movie is saying this is currently happening, versus oh, well, it's happening in the past, so that's okay because it's the past. It had like
but because this takes place in present day,
right?
You have to be uncomfortable with the fact that people could
like what would happen
that.
if what you would feel if this did happen today. Like that's, I feel like it really did make you like really sit in that.
In terms of differences between our viewing a year ago when we saw the first screening and this viewing, there are a handful of things that happened before you found out the twist that definitely gave away the twist.
Yeah.
Even though we still kind of were naive to it because we weren't sure what we were watching.
Right.
One of the first runaways you see has a piercing. Okay, that could give it away for some people. It didn't for us, but it could. Another one was Kiersey Clemons' character. Before you see the twist, you see that she has a tattoo. Again, we were like, that's weird. But we didn't pick it up.
I thought, like, I think the reason we excused it where we were like, okay, maybe this is just like, we're seeing it before it's done. Maybe they're going to cover up she has an actual tattoo. Okay, fine.
That scene was cut out, and then also a scene with overseers, I guess, of the one of the plantation. He says, "Whistle me a Negro spiritual." In the version that's released, someone starts to whistle something, but then it kind of fades out. You don't really hear what it is. In our viewing, they whistled what's known as the Black National Anthem, the Lift Every Voice and Sing, and that song didn't exist in slave times. So again, we still kind of were like, well, okay.
Yeah.
We excused it, but these are things that they did cut out that reappeared in the second half of it after you after you find out the twist that they cut out, probably because people were like, I could tell that.
Right.
You know, the twist wasn't a surprise.
And that's one thing that I do wish we saw more of, is I wish that we saw the after. And one thing that we were talking about that would have added to the movie is if we did see like how all of these people had been kidnapped. They'd all been abducted.
I feel like everybody was specifically
right.
picked.
Yeah.
Like whether you are a big name or, you know, the person across the street or the neighbor, like they were all hand chosen. That's
and
what
it's why were they specifically hand chosen? Because they don't just go out stealing black people. They have scouts who go out and be like, that is a good person to get. And you know what? Kiersey Clemons' character seems like she's very outspoken. Like as soon as she got there, she was like, what is the plan? How are we getting out of here? Yeah. And she could have been very outspoken out there in the real world. We don't see that. We don't know. But that could be why they took her too. Like,
they were outspoken people.
Exactly. Like we're gonna show you a lesson. We're gonna show you what your true place
why
is.
These specific people are on this plantation. Like why did you pick these people?
One of like a really big issue in America is when black people go missing or black kids go missing and it's not well circulated and you not much is happening for it. And I feel like it would have been really interesting to see like maybe in the background of one of the scenes of the present time of seeing this person is missing or like something like that to kind of tie in, or
even like something like such and such has been found, they've been missing for 4 months, or this person has been found.
That was a missed opportunity to show the problem with black people, black girls specifically going missing. And it does feel like there are a lot more women on the plantation than there were males.
There were.
She's a well-known person and they couldn't find her. And she was well known. It's not like she's just some random Sally who lives across.
They talk about how, like, whenever she calls her husband, he's like, everyone has been searching for you. Everyone has been looking for you. Like, where have you been? Also, having people in high places. This guy was into politics. Like, he had ways of, like, not allowing the outside world in.
He could have had, like, people in the police department in his pocket, the police that are in charge of like.
It shows you how corrupt it could be.
But
like
they don't show you that, and I feel like part of it is probably because they want it to be a very contained situation. Because I do feel like if you were throwing all these things at people, if they already feel attacked by the movie with the little bit that they did, then they would have felt really attacked. But it would have been a great tie-in to the essence of systematic racism. Yeah. So that was our review of Antebellum. Please let us know down in the comments what you thought. And again, we do recommend you watch it more than once. The rental is $20 and you have it for 48 hours, right?
I think so.
48 hours. I would definitely take that 48 hours to watch it at least twice so you can get a deeper dive and a better understanding of the whole
But like watch
plot.
it once and then like
Like, just think on
maybe
it.
like
Yeah.
the next day and just let it like marinate and sink in to what you've exactly
Yeah.
watched, and then go back and just look at everything.
I
If you
wish-
haven't watched this yet, the little details
Right,
that we
right.
said.
It's on Amazon Prime, $19.99. Not sponsored.
Anything that we missed, symbolism, any metaphors that you saw, please leave them down below as well, because that was probably the most interesting thing about the second watch, is seeing all the things we missed, the
Yes.
metaphors that we missed. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Click the little notification bell so that you always get notified when we put out a new video.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me again.
Of course.
Until next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.